I came up with my own formula for how do we make our community resilient. And there it is. And for those of you who are really wonks and want a handout, I've got about 100 copies that I can leave in the back of the room when this is through. Bear with me. 2P plus 2R times PPR equals resilience. Now, you know everything inside one parenthesis is multiplied by everything in the other parentheses. First P, the first task is to prevent disasters. That's your job. We can't prevent hurricanes. We can't prevent heavy rains, but we have to mitigate their impact. We have to take steps to minimize their impact. Because the event itself is not a disaster. The impact of the event is the disaster. Flood control and mitigation projects, building codes and restrictions, maximizing green space, those are all prevention tools. And I know you have session after session after session about that. The second P is preparation. We know that we can't prevent everything. We know that we're going to get hit by disasters. So how do we prepare for it? And you saw earlier, Harris County is well prepared. We're ready to go. We have to remind people all the time that it's hurricane season. So every June 1st, we put out all kinds of public announcements and say it's hurricane season. You live on the Gulf Coast, get ready, and we're ready. Then you have the 2 R's. If you know you're going to have an impact of a disaster, you have to be able to respond. Inevitably, we know a disaster will befall our county. Our response will always be based on well-thought-out plans for evacuation, shelters, law enforcement, health care, myriad of other actions. But as Harvey showed us, the best plans are frequently inadequate. The key to really having a good response is to have trained, dedicated people in position to make clear decisions in a timely manner. The lady who made the decision to send that truck to San Jacinto County did not have to ask me. She just did it. She was our logistics person, and it was the right thing to do. The second R is a good deal harder, recovery. We're still getting checks from the federal government for Hurricane Ike, which was 10 years ago. We still have thousands of people out of their homes and businesses still closed from Harvey. So how quickly we return to our previous condition, it's really not the measure of resilience for me. The real recovery comes when we know lives are back to normal and we have taken steps to make similar future disasters less impactful. Prevention, preparation, response, and recovery are all very complex subjects that should be the focus of what you do. Specialized research and expertise. You know, throughout history, a lot of that's just been based on experience. But we need to share that experience. And that's what conferences like this are about. But it's not enough to say the 2 P's and the 2 R's are the answer to assuring resilience. Because you notice there's a multiplier in the equation, and that multiplier is made up of 3 factors. And it's that multiplier that really determines the effectiveness of our efforts, and that multiplier is PPR. The first P, policies. Governments and private companies, too, must put policies in place to develop and support prevention, preparation, response, and recovery. The 2 P's and the 2 R's don't happen by themselves. And when you talk about policies, we're in an election year. Do you see any commercials being run about policies for mitigation or policies for flood control? Or no. You see policies about, don't even get me started there. And even if you have the right policies, unless you put priorities on it, it doesn't matter, and that's the second P. Harris County is a great example. One of the first things you have to do as an elected official is admit that you didn't do it right. And we didn't do it right in Harris County. We have a great Harris County flood control district. But over the years, in a budget approaching $2 billion a year, we've allocated about $120 million a year to the Harris County Flood Control District. 60 for operation and maintenance and 60 for CapEx. It's not enough. And so all of us in elected office in Harris County need to be willing to admit, hey, we didn't do enough. So what's the R? Well, the R is the key. It's resources. Forward-thinking policies and the right priorities are necessary, but if you don't pay for them, they don't do you any good at all. So 2P plus 2R times PPR equals resilience. And the only way we get there is by being willing to spend the money to do it. This formula brings all the necessary elements together, but anybody who knows math, if you have a really small number in one of those elements, you're going to end up with a small amount of resilience.